Hello everyone, my name's David. Welcome to Wax Gamer. Today I am excited to bring you this exclusive interview with Michael Yeates, founder and lead developer of the game Alien World. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Mining all we can on the land. What's the plan when you got the TLM in your hand, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here with us today. We are happy to be joined by Michael Yeates, founder and lead developer of the game Alien Worlds. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's actually been looking forward to this all week. I know we had to put it off a little bit, but I
Yeah,
see why now because we have some exciting news to share with the viewers. And
yeah.
before we do, though, how things been going your way?
Busy. I was hoping to have a little bit of a break after all the Binance launch and all of that kind of madness. So I took a few days off, but back into it now, and it's as crazy as ever. So
Uh, Feeling refreshed, hopefully, right?
yeah, trying to. You have to take a break every now and again just to stop the meltdown and the burnout. Otherwise,
Right.
you get quite
I would
bad.
assume it's pretty easy just to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with everything on your plate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wake up, I start on Alien Worlds, and I stay until I go to bed. I get in a lot of trouble for the amount of time I'm working on Alien Worlds. So
Understandable, understandable. Okay, we have a lot of stuff to hop into today. Thanks for being here. I see the viewers are starting to pile in, so let's hop right into it. I hear we have some exciting news to share in today's interview, including the cost of shining being reduced starting tomorrow. Can we elaborate a bit on that and why this decision was made?
yeah, so we're reducing the price for the current Shining. So that's the tools and the avatars. Am I right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
was I have to double check. So we're reducing the price for those because at the moment they're quite high. Because we obviously based them on the Trillium price a long time ago, and that's changed a little bit recently. So
Just a bit.
yeah, so we had a lot of feedback that these prices were just crazy price now. So yeah, so we've decided to reduce them. That'll happen tomorrow. I'll change all the prices tomorrow at 1500 UTC, which is like 2 hours before now. Tomorrow.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I can't wait. And so this is actually leading up. Well, I'll tease that in a moment here. So for the players who were not here when Shining was open for the first time, like Shining Day is a really fun day in the metaverse, and hopefully everyone gets to experience it this time. It's like a race for the low mints, if you will. Did you
Yeah,
shine any NFTs on the initial Shining Day?
I did, but I didn't get very low mints at all. I was quite late to the game relative. When it actually opened, I was there making sure that things worked. And if you remember, there was a slight bug when we first launched, which I had to like crazy go and
Yes.
fix. So yeah, so I did shine. I've shined quite a lot, and I continued to shine as well, even after the day, just for fun. Um, and I never got as far as an antimatter, but I think I've got a few Stardusts, which I quite like the look of.
Oh wow, that is pretty cool. Yeah, I haven't shined a whole lot myself, but I do have the number one golden shovel. I just feel like that's just like an
Oh,
honor to have
nice.
that. Yeah, I like that. I like that for some reason.
I
I feel
have the
like it
number
suits me.
one standard shovel.
Okay, well there you go. We can combine our powers one day, Michael.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to have the number one gold shovel. I'm a
Well, it
little
sounds
bit
pretty
jealous.
cool to have the number one standard shovel. I'm a little
Yeah,
jealous.
I get a lot of I was going through all my the requests for trades.
Yes.
So many people trying to trade me nothing for that, or like a mint 3 million shovel for that shovel. So
That shovel's not leaving your
it's
wallet
not
anytime
leaving
soon.
my hands. No, probably not.
That's awesome to hear. Okay, so now we've teased the big news long enough. We have the official date set in stone. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. Could you please share with the viewers the date and time they will be able to shine their minions and weapons?
The date is the 21st of May, and it's 1500 UTC.
Great, good deal. So I'm sure at that point in time you will be ready to debug another error if needed. All
I
right.
mean, in theory, everything should work as it does now, but you never know.
Right.
Um,
Once you get so much strain on a system, I'm sure that changes sometimes.
yeah, I mean, we've got the CPU issues this time, which may crop up as people try to start shining. But in theory, fingers crossed, everything should be good, and it should just be kind of a different configuration from before.
Another fun,
Same
exciting day.
code, same everything. So
Sounds great. Sounds great. So where do players actually go to shine their Alien Worlds NFTs who are unfamiliar with the process?
They go to unbox.alienworlds.io, which is the unboxing site, but it also has the inventory for the shining as well. So
Great.
they're able to shine there.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Are there any, this is kind of an off-topic question, but are there any plans to expand use cases for things like tools? Like, will they potentially be utilized for terraforming or anything else in the future?
Not for terraforming, probably not. We have a new category of items, which I'm not sure if, I think people know about it. We have the name escapes me.
That's okay. That's all right. So many names, right?
I'll come up with it in a minute. It's the
Was
so
it
we
the
have
artifacts?
artifacts. Thank you very much.
Okay, the artifacts. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so we have the artifacts which will come along quite soon, and they will be used for terraforming. They'll be used for healing minions, and potentially even things like reducing the amount of time between mines. So they're the kind of like the one-hit shots that we will use. I mean, people in other games can use tools and minions and whatever for whatever they want. Like, it's what we have is just a reference game. You know, the mining and everything that we're doing is literally just reference games that people, you know, they're basic games that we're starting off with, and we're hoping that people will actually invent their own games and start using our NFTs in those games. There's nothing stopping people using tools in any other kind of game.
That's awesome. That is good. Yeah. So this is like essentially like could be essentially like the economic layer on the entire metaverse, you know, with people just building more and more on top of it.
That's exactly how what we're building. We're building the economics of it all, that everybody kind of then starts working for that currency in game. And what they do for that currency in game is really, really open for them to choose anything. We're obviously kickstarting things, but the aim is that people will actually kind of take it and run. I think it's too early at the moment. People are still kind of getting used to everything and how things work, and just kind of realizing the scope of everything. But once they kind of get happy with that, and I think some people are starting to do that, then they'll run with it in their own different directions.
Once everyone realizes like their full potential per se, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the mining, we send 80% of the mining of the income to the planet towards the mining, but there's no reason why it has to go towards mining. People could send it anywhere. They could do whatever they like with it. They could send it straight to the landowners if they really wanted to.
Yeah, I've seen all kinds of cool stuff. Like some people in their campaigns are talking about even allocating a certain percentage of the Trillium to charities, and you know, just doing cool things like that. Like you said, the possibilities are endless. In
yeah, I mean, it's whatever people come up with, and we want to see people come up with lots of different things. So.
Sounds good. Sounds interesting. Okay, so let me ask you this. I was hoping today you would share with the viewers your current rig and the thought process that goes into selecting the tools that work well together.
I like so I'll show you my exact rig. So I've got a large explosive, a basic explosive, and a gas rigged extractor. So I'm pretty high on Trillium extraction. And I like to have long time between mines so that I can mine in the morning, and then like in the afternoon, and then in the evening, three or four times a day. I'm not able to constantly be mining.
You're not just using 3 exo gloves over there. I assumed that's what you had.
No. I just have a very, very large explosive kind of rig, and I like to see a large amount come out. I don't want to see a small amount come out every time.
I gotcha. Just a few times per day, just get that big burst of Trillium.
And that has quite a decent NFT chance, but I'm very unlucky with my NFTs. I don't really get very much.
Yeah, I've been missing a lot of mining attempts lately too.
Yeah.
I blame GVM for that. That's who I.
Well, things are going to change. We're definitely we're looking at the NFTs and everything, and you know, if you've seen the NFTs coming out, they're hundreds of thousands. We're into the millions. I think we're over 2 million of the abundant tools. Some of the abundant stuff, like the male humans, well over 2 million. So we're kind of dialing it back a little bit with the in-game NFTs. and we're looking to bring on other people to drop the NFTs, which they're actually doing, but there's not very much visibility into that. So we're going to look to bring up some pages where people can kind of promote their NFT drops on their land and try to get more people to mine on their land, because, you know, I'm always surprised when I hear that there's like a large or well-known artist who's actually dropping NFTs on their land and nobody really knows about it. You know, it's very, like Ken Bozak was dropping loads of stuff. I think he still is. Byron, he does the zombie stuff. He does a lot of zombie stuff. He was talking to me, he's planning to drop stuff, or he may be dropping stuff, and it's not very clear. So we want to make it so that people are aware that, you know, that there are other people dropping NFTs, and if you choose the right land, you can get some really, really cool stuff. The cryptids, you know, that they were dropping, I think they're doing another drop now. And again, that's something that they only really publicize within their own communities, but we would like to kind of bring it to everybody so that everyone's aware.
The cryptid drop you could actually read about in the GVM Discord under non-GVM promotions. Some of those other drops, we've started to have them be in there a lot.
Yeah.
Ultra Rare Richie is the guy that you could DM in our Discord to talk about the cryptids. It's a really cool drop. I totally agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool drops, and there's a lot of stuff. Even some of the smaller guys are dropping their own fun NFTs. So where we're kind of dropping down, I like to see that everybody else is kind of picking up, and they're doing more land specific stuff rather than general, which I think is cool because, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this shameless plug there too, GVM. Yeah, check out GVM's Discord while everybody's at it also. And yeah, I think that kind of goes back to what you was talking about, Michael, how with the artists dropping their art and things like that, it really ties it back to the community aspect and how, you know, we can do anything in the metaverse. It's kind of up to us and like what, you know, what our imagination limits us to at this point.
Yeah, and you can even take the trillion return by the planet and go ahead and commission an artist to go and make some NFTs just for your planet or whatever, you know.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: what else can explorers expect in the near future?
In the near future, so the NFTs I think is a big one that we're kind of. There's a lot of these things which I feel like we've been promising for a while now, and they're just kind of starting to come through. So Shining was one of them, which we just said, you know, that's coming, it's coming. Now it's finally here, which is good. So we're clearing these things off our plates. We've got the art, the Alien Worlds art, which is a load of artists who we've commissioned directly to produce artwork, which we're going to drop on miners. We're going to have, we're thinking about the opening up voting on the planets. That's something which we have to be very careful about, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the planets have a very considerable amount of money now, or amount of tokens. There's like Cavian has, I think, almost 7 million trillion now, which that's a lot. You know, it's not what we originally thought about. You know, so before the Binance launch, it was a decent amount of money, but it wasn't a huge amount. But now it's like it's something we need to think about, and we have to think about the cost of taking over a planet and just robbing the funds. So we're also looking at a special change to the mining. We're looking at the mining, and we're thinking about altering that slightly so that we're going to put more of the funds into it. So there's going to be a little boost to the mining rewards. And we're going to boost it for more loyal players. Did I say that? Yeah, we don't have the exact things yet, but I've got our front-end developer. He's been working on some changes which we need to make to the app. They're pretty much done. I saw some screens of that today. And then we have to think about the exact equations and everything of how we're going to reward people and what they're going to do. But yeah, there will be a change to the mining which will reward people who are a little bit more into the game.
Devoted. A little more devoted. I like it. I love it, actually. Okay, so I've got a couple more questions, and then we'll hand it over to you, GVM. You may have a few from the audience as well. Let's see here. Would you be so kind as to elaborate a bit on the wax errors, like the CPU error, for example? I know Alien Worlds is not wax, but why do players experience this error?
I mean, it's not really an error. It's exactly how the wax blockchain is supposed to work. The blockchain itself has a very limited, well, not very limited, but it's a finite amount of time that it can dedicate to processing transactions. It can't process an infinite number of transactions. There's 500 millisecond blocks, and I think from that it's either 200 or 300 milliseconds. I forget exactly how wax is configured, but there's a small portion of the block time which is dedicated to producing transactions. And you see, when you have a transaction, it will tell you this used 1 millisecond of time, or this used 500 nanoseconds of time. So each transaction takes a certain amount of physical time. So there's only a certain amount of time in the world, you know, we can't add an extra hour to the day or anything. So the blockchain is limited, and the way that the blockchain allocates that limited resource is by using staked CPU. So before now, there's this multiplier which affects when the chain is not busy. So if the chain isn't busy, then the system kind of says, right, everybody, you have your allocated CPU, but I'll multiply that by 5 because there's nobody using the chain, so you might as well use it. You can have 5 times what you're actually allowed. And as the chain gets more busy, it contracts that down. So you may get only 2 times, or it may go down to one time, which is the lowest it will go. It will only go down to your actual allocation. So that's what people have been seeing. They've been seeing that the amounts for free time has been contracted, so they don't have as many mines as they would do normally, unless they stake more CPU. But also people have seen it kind of varying a lot, which is quite frustrating for people, I think. And that's really just the system responding to changes like as they happen by seconds. So if there's a big launch, or like somebody's doing shining or something, it may push the transactions up, which then contracts the number. So yeah, if people are seeing CPU problems, then they either need to stake more or they need to mine less. So if you have, like I do, I mine 4 times a day, there's no way that I'm running out of CPU. So yeah, I mean, one mine is the same as another mine. It doesn't matter how much Trillium is extracted or whatever. One mine that I do is the same as one mine that someone does with 1 exoglove.
So that even makes it somewhat more beneficial if you have a long charge time, then, to just less errors to deal with ultimately.
You're going to need less stakes.
Less staked.
Well.
Yeah.
So when you sign up for the Wax Cloud wallet, they provide you a small amount of CPU, just to allow you to do, you know, very basic day-to-day, couple of transfers, couple of purchases. They never imagined that people would be doing 3,000 mines per day or whatever people are doing, you know. So
many different transactions. Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Michael. And I think at this point, if you don't mind, if you have a few moments, maybe GVM might have a few questions from the audience for you.
Yeah, a lot of people want to know with that rig how much you mine when you mine right now.
Well, I'll just mine and tell you how much I get. I'm getting about 0.4s, 0.6s. It's always below 1 these days. But yeah, it's around that, and it does vary wildly. You know, I have a real-time monitor of how much is in each pot, and it varies a lot. So sometimes it can go up to 2, depending on the planets. I definitely wouldn't be mining on Neri if I was somebody looking to get a decent amount. But then they get the NFTs, they get the CryptoMonkey stuff. So, you know, it weighs itself out. But if you want a large amount of Trillium per mine, don't mine on one of the more popular planets. Mine on the smaller planets. And even though they have less stakes, they have less fill rates. they still actually have more because they have a lot less miners. So I think I'm mining on my island on Veles at the moment. So yeah, it's coming in at about 0.4, which is unfortunately a lot less than it used to be. I remember the good old days. We used to get hundreds of trillium per mine, but not
I thought I
anymore.
saw a screenshot. Yeah, the screenshot we have somewhere. It's like 120. Congratulations, you have received 120 TLM for your efforts.
Yeah, that was the one that we sent to DAP Radar.
That radar. Yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah, things aren't that good these days.
Things are better in a way. I guess it's all balanced out. You know?
Yeah, everything, the whole system itself is designed to kind of self-balance. You know, as the mining rate goes down, you would expect less people to be mining, which would send the rate up. And remember, we're going to bring in some other games as well, which won't actually take from the pot, they'll take from other people. So, you know, the Thunderdome game is going to take from other people who entered the competition. So that will actually increase as more people play. So yeah, it's all hopefully self-balancing, and obviously as the price of Trillium increased, that drove more people to come and mine. So
just a few people, it seems.
yeah, so there I just mined 0.33. It's okay.
There you go, GVM 0.33 right from the top.
And
It's
that's
better than I get lately. I don't mind that often. I have like a crazy long delay. Mine's like 4.5 hours or something when it's set up for NFTs.
mine on my island. It's a great place to mine.
Yeah,
I'm actually mining
that's
on a
my
different
point.
island on the same planet. A lot of people want to know about the Thunderdome, like just any detail having to do with like how the elements will work, the weapons, the minions. I don't know if you could talk about it or not.
I don't have the exact details, unfortunately. I know that the elements do play a factor in how each person battles, but I don't have the exact details. Obviously, things like water would be good against fire, but the elements do count. They do add up and they are used, but I don't have the exact details, unfortunately. That's all within Rob at the moment, who's doing some. He's putting a lot of thought into it because it's a very huge kind of, you know, it's a huge system with lots of moving pieces, and he's running some simulations as we speak to try to kind of figure out a good balance between everything and make sure everything is well balanced. Rather him than me, honestly. I think that's a very tough job to do. So yeah, we're just going to let him do his work, and then he'll come back with.
I'm super excited for this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing, and it's going to take a while. So we've got things coming before that. It's not the next thing to come.
A couple people want to know if a Binance account is required for the Planet Binance missions.
No, it's the Binance missions are not on Binance, the exchange. They're on Binance Smart Chain, which is an Ethereum clone, and it runs exactly the same way as Ethereum. You just need you'll need a MetaMask account, and you'll need a small amount of BNB token for the gas. That's it. You don't need. There's no Binance involved as such.
Awesome.
Thank goodness the gas is paid in BNB, right?
Yeah, I mean it's like 100th of the price of Ethereum. It's a lot less than Ethereum. So even though it has been going up recently, they've been seeing the same kind of crazy increase in traffic as Wax has seen. And it's quite interesting to compare how the two different chains cope with their limited resources. So you see on Wax, we just reduce the amount that you're allowed and you have to stake more, which you can then get back. But with BNB and Ethereum, the price just goes up. So they started, I think, a few weeks ago, we were on like 5 GUI, would get you a decent place, or it would get you confirmed quite quickly. Now it's more like 7 GUI, so it's kind of raised almost 50% in the last few weeks. So, I mean, Wax is good because it's all free essentially. You know, you can get your money back at any time. BNB, you pay.
A couple of people are also curious. A common topic is getting flagged as a bot, and they're curious if there's a way where they're mining really quickly. If they get flagged as a bot, do they get unflagged after a period of time, or is there anything you could talk to about that? Or
people don't understand what will get them flagged as a bot, is all I can say. And if people do feel that they've been flagged incorrectly, there's a form which we can fill out, which I regularly go through and process. Although, you know, there are a lot of people who fill out that form and say, I'm not a bot. And then I look at their account and it very clearly is multiple accounts running mining operations. So yeah, feel free to fill out the form, but, you know, let's all play fair.
okay. Some people want to know what, or they want to know if the NFT drop rate is going to change a lot in the future or stay the same. I mean, it sounds like you addressed that there's just going to be more things from alien worlds, though, non-tools.
Yeah, so yeah, it will always change. We will always be changing that NFT. We don't, it's not correct yet. We actually have a completely different way of dropping than we have now, which I'm kind of thinking about and planning and doing some tests on. That's why we don't actually, we've never published very detailed details about how many we drop and when we drop. We've never done that because it's always changing and it always will change. We will constantly change it. Occasionally it will drop a lot. Sometimes we'll drop it slowly. In the future, we're hoping that this new way will be a lot smoother so that we don't have to have these sudden drops, which we've been doing. We've been reducing the rates that they drop just because it's getting out of control. It's going crazy, you know. And we don't want to hit any kind of limits with some of the higher rarity tools. We don't want us to be giving out all of the mythicals and then have no mythicals left for packs and those kind of things. So yeah, we will always be changing the NFT drops. We will always be adding new NFTs. We will always be looking at extra ways and different ways to drop NFTs. It's kind of an ongoing thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there some point at which you'll be able to equip 4 tools, or is it?
Probably not. I don't think so. No, we may.
Why not go for 5 while we're at it? You know, let's just go for 5.
Why not 10? No, there's no plans to change the number of tools. Definitely not. I've heard people talking about lending of tools, which sounds quite cool. And one guy was talking to me last week about flash loans. I don't know if you've heard about like DeFi flash loans. Well, he was talking about NFT flash loans, whereby you would give the tool to another account, they would mine, and then they would give the tool back all within the same transaction. So it's weird, it like transfers, mines, and then transfers back all within one transaction. So if it's not sent back by the end of the transaction, it throws an error, which is how you can give a tool to somebody else and then guarantee that it comes back. So that was really interesting. So they might be adding some kind of DeFi features. This is another example of something which we've been planning, but then the community kind of just does it anyway. You know, they kind of go off and do it. So it's kind of like we have to reassess, well, if other people are going to create these kind of flash loan things, do we need to do proper loaning? Because we were thinking about doing long-term loans where you could loan a tool to somebody and the ownership wouldn't actually transfer, but they would have the rights to use your tool within the mining. So
I would love that, and I would love it to have like a time of life. Like, I'd love to give someone an MFT that just burned in a day, and they could use it for a day or something.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we're considering. I wouldn't say it was top of our priority list, But also it is actually quite a simple change to the smart contract. It would require a bit of a user interface somewhere that we would have to write. But it's not the most complicated thing in the world, and it's definitely something we would be open to, yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's so many more questions, but I think that there's a lot of it. Are there any new UI changes coming soon? Post the land commission?
Yeah, the land commission was the last one, which kind of went down very well. I think people liked that. That was because, I mean, even since the beginning, we've been aware that people have been able to kind of advertise that they have 0 commission, and then they can change it later. And unless you're really keeping an eye on it, it's very hard to see. So we've just made it like front and center before you claim, and you can actually switch land before that, and you won't have to go through the mining procedure again. We have this other change coming up soon, which will feed into how we're changing the mining. That's as far as I'll go on that. That's kind of, it's to do with staking. We're going to change the staking a little bit. And then also we're working quite heavily now on changing the APIs that we use. So we won't be using the Atomic Assets API anymore. We'll be using our own API. So we've seen quite a few issues with the Atomic API where you get the failed to fetch error, which I'm sure everybody is aware of. You know, occasionally it'll come up and then it'll happen.
Have you seen the memes?
I try to avoid the memes. I'm sure there are. So yeah, the failed to fetch error is an error on that particular API. So we're going to switch away from that, and we'll have our own API, which is like, this is big data that we're dealing with here. So we have to make sure that it's all behind Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is a really good kind of very high traffic proxy site, which a lot of the big companies use. You've probably seen it when you go somewhere and it kind of flashes up saying Cloudflare is checking your browser. Yeah, so it protects against attacks, it protects against bots, and it also protects against just huge traffic, which is what we have. You know, we used to host on our own servers, and we pretty quickly stopped doing that because our servers, just the bandwidth got saturated just by people coming. Even though it was cached at Cloudflare, as soon as we updated, it would just get smashed. So yeah, we're working a lot with Cloudflare at the moment, and we're kind of building up an API which is hopefully going to be very resilient. We're putting a lot of machines behind it. We've just got to make sure that they're all caught up. So yeah, that's the next thing that's coming for the UI. And then obviously I think you know that this UI that we have now is going to be replaced at some point, where we've been working for the last 2 months, probably 2 months at least, on a completely different UI, which is going to host the Thunderdome. It's going to be a lot more easy to manage for us. It's going to be better for mobiles. It's going to be better for translation. It's going to be better for accessibility. So blind and deaf people are going to be able to use the site a lot more easily. It's just going to be generally a lot more easier for us to work with. It's not going to be built using Unity, which this one is. So we've been working on that for some time, and I guess we'll continue to work on that, and then that will come out. So yeah, I mean, we've always got a lot of different tracks behind the scenes that we're working on, and then suddenly one will pop up and you'll see it, like the Shining came out today. Yeah, there's a lot going on under the surface, which there's a couple more things we haven't told you, but there's always stuff going on, you know.
Lots of exciting stuff for sure. You have anything else for us today, GVM?
I mean, unless you want to tell us some things you haven't told us, I think we're pretty good.
Just between us, it's just a few friends here.
Just a few people.
Just us 66 people here.
There's nothing at the moment, but there is some cool stuff coming. We're definitely working constantly on stuff. So, but yeah, you guys will be first to know. We'll come and tell you when we have something a bit more concrete. I'd love to tell you, but the problem is, you know, if you have a deal going on with a company, you can't announce that before it's actually completed. Otherwise, you know, you look stupid if it doesn't go ahead, and that company may get upset with you. So
Absolutely, totally understandable.
yeah. So
Just a hint. No, I'm just
I
joking.
mean, you could just tell us the first letter of the name of.
the first letter is U.
There we go. Uh-oh. Let's send them out. Now we sent the sleuths out with something to investigate. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Yeates, founder and lead developer of Alien Worlds. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget, you can always play Alien Worlds at alienworlds.io. And hopefully in a couple weeks, Michael, we can do this again.
Yeah, of course.
Sounds great. All right, guys, everybody have a great day. And don't forget, you can catch the replay on waxgamer.com. Thanks a lot for your time, Michael.
Thank you.
Now that was an exciting interview. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget you can always catch us on the web at waxgamer.com. Catch up with everyone soon. Mining all we can on the land. What's a plan when you got the TLM in your hand, huh?